Welcome to News Mongolia, where we bring you the latest stories and updates from across the nation and beyond. I'm Batsirin Namshar. On the News Mongolia tonight, proposed amendment to the State Austerity Law set to be submitted. Prime Minister of Mongolia to attend the 54th World Economic Forum in Davos-Klosters. Mongolia and Benelux nations announce visa exemption agreement for official passport holders. For the news, stay tuned. Following deliberations on the proposed amendments to the State Austerity Law, the Cabinet has resolved to expedite its submission to the Parliament of Mongolia. This decision aligns with the statutory provisions outlined in the law on the procedure of the sessions of the Parliament of Mongolia, with the discussion slated for January 10, 2024. The State Austerity Law, originally endorsed by the Mongolian Parliament on April 29, 2022, mandates the enforcement of financial discipline across governmental entities, spanning all levels, public services, and their associated activities. Its core objectives include fostering transparency, improving efficiency, and implementing measures to curtail and monitor expenditure. Budget administrators at various levels and state-owned enterprises have diligently implemented the law, resulting in tangible reductions in costs, workforce, and the salary fund. Moreover, public organizations have embraced operational adjustments, including constraints on official travel, such as mandating economic class for car usage during missions, cessation of uniform purchases, elimination of public fund expenditures on souvenirs and presents, elimination of public end expenditures on souvenirs and presents, digitalization of official records, and the implementation of measures to conserve electricity, heating, and overall energy consumption. The Cabinet has affirmed that the State Austerity Law has yielded positive outcomes, contributing significantly to economic growth through the reduction of state budget expenditures. In response to the evolving needs of public organizations in rural areas, a draft law on amendments to the State Austerity Law has been crafted. The primary objectives are to ensure the seamless operations of these entities during challenging weather conditions, particularly harsh winters and spring seasons, and to enhance the efficiency and accessibility of services provided to citizens. While upholding fiscal discipline and the ongoing austerity measures, this new legislation is anticipated to positively impact access to public services, marking a crucial step towards improvement in this regard. The 54th annual meeting of the World Economic Forum is scheduled to take place in Davos-Klosters, Switzerland from January 15th to 19th, 2024, with the theme Rebuilding Trust. Prime Minister of Mongolia, Lopsen is set to participate in the forum.
Established in 1971 by Swiss economist Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum brings together leaders from various sectors, including politics, business, environment, and technology. The forum aims to address global challenges and shape future development trends and policies through collaborative discussions. Mongolia has had notable representation at previous WEF meetings with participants such as Foreign Minister Batsik in 2023, President Batorlak in 2020, Minister of Mining and Heavy Industry Somya Batar in 2019, Foreign Minister Tsakhtuatr in 2018, and President Ilpak Dorch in 2017, respectively. The involvement of Prime Minister Lopsen in the 54th annual meeting reflects Mongolia's ongoing engagement in international dialogues, emphasizing a commitment to addressing shared global challenges through cooperative efforts.
Now let's take a look at Mongolia's some current affairs.
Mongolia and the Benelux countries, including Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg, have recently entered into a mutual agreement aimed at waiving visa requirements for individuals holding diplomatic and official passports. The signing ceremony took place in Brussels on January 9, 2024, and was attended by notable representatives, including Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Mongolia to Kingdom of Belgium Bort, State Secretary for Asylum and Migration of Belgium Nicole de Moor, Consul of the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Luxembourg, and Director of Consular Affairs and International Cultural Relations Jean-Claude Cugener, as well as the Ambassador of the Kingdom of the Netherlands to Belgium Peter Jan Kluivert de Zwaan. As per the terms outlined in the agreement, holders of diplomatic and official passports from these nations will enjoy visa-free travel for a duration of up to 90 days. The agreement is poised to become effective once each party fulfills its respective national legal requirements for the approval of the accord.
Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Now let's take a look at international news from our partner agencies. This Israeli military claimed on Thursday that it exposed a vast underground tunnel in Khan Yunis in southern Gaza Strip. They said the tunnel was connected to an extensive underground tunnel network beneath a civilian area in the city.
On Wednesday, the military said it has found evidence that hostages were present in the underground tunnel. The military also showed the tunnel to journalists who were escorted into a neighborhood near the ruins of destroyed homes and streets. A makeshift ladder led to the narrow underground pathway about 2.5 meters below. Farther inside was a bathroom where the military said it found evidence that hostages had been there, including their DNA. Israeli military operations in Gaza focused on the southern city of Khan Yunis and urban refugee camps in the territory's center. Hundreds of people have been killed in recent days in strikes across the territory, including in areas of the far south where Israel told people to seek refuge. Hamas' 7 October attack from Gaza into southern Israel triggered the war and killed around 1,200 people, and militants took some 250 others hostages. Israel's air, ground, and sea assault in Gaza has killed more than 23,000 people, two-thirds of them women and children, according to the health ministry in the Hamas-ruled territory. The count doesn't differentiate between civilians and combatants.
Judges at the International Court of Justice on Thursday opened 2 days of legal arguments in a case filed by South Africa accusing Israel of genocide in its Gaza war. Israel rejects the allegation. Lawyers for South Africa asked judges at Thursday's hearings to impose binding preliminary orders on Israel, including an immediate halt to Israel's military campaign in Gaza.
International Court of Justice President Joan Donoghue said that South Africa argues that Israeli actions after the October 7th attacks by Hamas are genocidal in character and that Israel failed to prevent genocide and is committing genocide. She said South Africa also claims Israel violates other fundamental obligations under the UN Genocide Convention. The dispute strikes at the heart of Israel's national identity as a Jewish state created in the aftermath of the Nazi genocide in the Holocaust. It also involves South Africa's identity. Its governing party, the African National Congress, has long compared Israel's policies in Gaza and the West Bank to its own history under the apartheid regime, a white minority rule which restricted most blacks to homelands before ending in 1994. Although it normally considers United Nations and international tribunals unfair and biased, Israel has sent a strong legal team to defend its military operation launched in the aftermath of the October 7th attacks by Hamas.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is in Estonia for a meeting with the country's leaders on the second day of his trip through the small Baltic states, where concerns is high about aggression from neighboring Russia. Details from Associated Press.
In Tallinn, Zelensky met with Estonian President Alar Karis. Speaking at the media conference after the meeting, Zelensky said no pause should be given to Russia at the battlefield. Zelensky also said that Russian assets and the assets of people tied to Russia must be frozen and consequently confiscated and used to resist the aggression and help all those people in Ukraine who suffered from it.
For us, it's fundamental that Russia bears full responsibility for all manifestations of its terror, for every crime committed, and for all the destruction caused by its aggression. This also applies to the legal responsibility of criminals. All Russian murderers and terrorists must be held responsible. This also applies to the full responsibility of the aggressor state, including the fact that Russia must pay the full price of this aggression. The assets of Russia and the assets of all persons associated with the aggressor state must be found, frozen, and, in the end, confiscated and serve in favor of protection against Russian aggression and help all those in Ukraine who suffered from the war.
Zelensky arrived in Tallinn late Wednesday after beginning his Baltic swing in Lithuania. He is to meet with Estonia's Prime Minister and address the parliament before heading to Latvia.
Germany's top diplomat criticized China's actions in the South China Sea, violating the rights of Asian coastal states like the Philippines during a visit to Manila. Annalena Baerbock, who held talks with President Ferdinand Marcos and other top officials, said Germany was ready to help de-escalate growing tensions.
And a warm welcome.
Baerbock added that it was crucial to set up mechanisms to resolve the disputes peacefully and foster dialogue. Such risky maneuvers violate the rights and economic development opportunities of your country and other neighboring countries, and for countries around the world, they challenge the freedom of sea routes guaranteed under international law in an area through which a third of global maritime trade flows. Baerbock held a news conference with her Philippine counterpart Enrique Manalo. In a symbolic gesture of Germany's support to the Philippines, Baerbock visited the Coast Guard headquarters in Manila and boarded a patrol ship, where she briefly flew one of a number of surveillance drones that Germany donated to the Philippines. Philippine Coast Guard officials said the drones would help the country defend its territorial interest in the South China Sea, enforce maritime laws, and undertake search and rescue during accidents at sea. Chinese officials didn't immediately issue reaction. The decades-long territorial dispute escalated last year between Beijing and Manila, sparking fears it could degenerate into a major conflict that could involve the United States, a long-time treaty ally of the Philippines. Chinese Coast Guard ships and accompanying vessels had used military-grade laser and water cannons against Philippine Coast Guard, and supply vessels undertook dangerous maneuvers near disputed shoals, prompting the Philippines to file a large number of diplomatic protests against China. The German foreign minister cited a 2016 ruling by a United Nations-backed arbitration panel that invalidated China's extensive territorial claims on historical grounds. China refused to participate in the arbitration, dismissed its ruling as a sham, and continues to defy it. Baerbock said the arbitration ruling was crystal clear.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you next week with more news and updates. Have a nice weekend. Goodbye.